side and drive it. Minnick, one of the best eyes on the team.
A hard grounder, that's foul. I mentioned these two teams didn't meet in the regular season. This is the fourth meeting in the Big Ten tournament. The history between the two schools. And last year was a Danielle Williams who did take on some of these players against Indiana. The Wildcats swept the Hoosiers last year in 3 games. But the Wildcats not only coming in with more veteran experience, they've been to the Women's College World Series. They won the last 12 against Indiana. And fighting it off again, Minnick.
And again, part of the game plan is swinging early and often. The other part is working to set yourself up in a way that makes sense. In the box, you can see how Minnick's back a little bit.
A full count. And a 9-pitch at bat now.
You can see how far back Minnick is in the box. She lets that pitch come in and just fouls it off. She's trying to take away the movement a little bit when she sits back, trying to swing at something that falls over the plate and not something that spins further out.
And she drives it right at the first baseman. Nikki Cochran heads up play and doubles up the Hoosiers.
And Nikki Cochran, right place, right time, squaring up here. Easy catch. Gets Kern as well.
Northwestern Wildcats, Big Ten regular season champs. They are veterans. They've been to the Women's College World Series last year, looking for their first Big Ten tournament title since 2008. They bring experience, they bring some seriousness, but they
zone, and she's going to mix a speed in occasionally as well. And it's all about keeping these Northwestern batters off balance, expanding that strike zone where you can, and allowing your defense to do the work.
Schellmeyer's numbers, second team all Big Ten. And tied for the third best Big Ten tournament average on the team. Batting .400 in a couple of games. She's gotten a couple of hits and a walk. And if she can get on base, she actually also has the only 2 stolen bases for Northwestern in the tournament. Is a perfect 2 for 2. And here's the 2-0, a hard ground ball to Brooke Benson. Benson has been fielding 9-7 on a little bit, and Copeland will move over to third base.
Copeland's pitching. This defense gets the leadoff outs over 60% of the time. Such a key thing to do, especially against a seasoned team, is not allow them to get settled in with no outs on the board.
Both of these starting pitchers, Copeland has only lost twice this year. Danielle Williams has only lost once. And Kansas Robinson gaps it off the wall. Robinson looking for 2. Here comes the throw to second base. And Robinson is in with a 1-out double. And the 6th double for Kansas Robinson this year.
And we saw Robinson yesterday attack early against Nebraska. She's doing it again here. A pitch up and out of the zone. Just lifts it, not high enough to get over the fence, but off the wall. She's able to get all the way to second base and really set the tone for Northwestern. Runner in scoring position for a big heart of the lineup here.
Jordan Rudd to the plate. We've talked about Taryn Kern being hitless in the Big Ten tournament. Same thing for Jordan Rudd, one of the top hitters in this lineup, but she's 0 for 4 with a strikeout coming into this at-bat, but she connects and flies it to left for the out. And so 2 outs with Robinson at second base, and it'll come down to Hannah Cady.
And Rudd kind of falls in that same category as Kern, that, you know, maybe you're circling her in the lineup a little bit more. You want to be really careful about how you throw her. So the challenge for her to find a good pitch to hit is a little bit more difficult, and will be as she gets through the tournament as well.
Anna Katie at the plate. Tied right there with her Big Ten tournament batting average with Skylar Schellmeyer at 400 in a couple of games. She has a couple of RBI. She's also scored a couple of runs. And her numbers were real good in the semifinals against Nebraska. Perfect 2 for 2. The interesting thing really about both of these lineups for Indiana and Northwestern, a lot of depth. Get a big hit from the 6th one in the lineup, or the 7th one in the lineup, or the 1st one in the lineup. And, you know, you can play loose and free. And who in this country wants to take on a loose and free and youthful and talented team for a championship game?
And even to the point where she said that she likes that they're young. I'm going to take a page from Renee Gillespie's book, which she talks about her freshmen from Iowa, is they don't know any better. And sometimes that's a really good place to be, is not understanding how big the moment is so that it doesn't get too big.
You see Sarah Stone attacking that pitch. The other thing she told her group in the film room, she told us today, hunt hard early in these at-bats. And she wanted that message to register so much, she actually made the whole team repeat it back to her in the film room this morning. Hunt hard early.
When I think about Stone here, and even Kern, who got an 0-2 count, Stone's got an 0-2 count here, they're at least getting their hacks in, and I think they're swinging at good pitches. This is a Danielle Williams who a lot of times the MO is to get ahead early so that you can mix your other stuff, and she's doing that. So they're fouling off and getting some pitches, but they're getting their swings in, which can ultimately play into the rest of this game in terms of what they actually connect with.
Sarah Stone kind of battling back against Danielle Williams. Williams, all kinds of experience. Her 7th career Big Ten tournament appearance. She is 3-1 coming into this start. And she's battled back from an 0-2 count, but she strikes out, and Danielle Williams went after her. First strikeout of the game.
And this is the most dangerous pitch that Williams has in her arsenal, this changeup that she can just introduce in the strike zone almost all the time. She brings it over the plate. And the speed just enough, and you could see that look on Stone's face. She knew that it got her.
Brianna Copeland at the plate. And arguably, maybe one of the best two-way players. She can pitch. We talked about her as a third baseman, and she can bat. She's got a couple of home runs already in this Big Ten tournament. And handcuffed her. You know, Jenny, I thought it was interesting talking to this Northwestern coaching staff where they talked about Danielle Williams and Michelle Gascoigne. We had a conversation with her, the pitching coach for Northwestern. She said, look, we understand the power, and in particular, Copeland brings to the plate, but the bases are clear right now. So you don't ever want to give up a home run. But if you do, the solo home runs are the best ones to go by. Because likely, you know, the chances are probably good that Indiana's going to get you at least once in a game with the long ball. They've got 78 home runs on the year.
And when you're used to hitting it like that, then you've got to count on that happening. But you're right, like a solo hit, when you're only putting one run on the board, that's something that this Northwestern team really feels like they can answer back with.
And Copeland well ahead of that one. Strikeout number 2. And Danielle Williams has found her groove in the second.
And I think we didn't see a lot of the changeup in the first 3 batters, but has done it in the first 2 here this inning, and just gets Copeland ahead and on top of that pitch. Even when you time it right, to me, it's such a hard pitch to hit, but when you get ahead on it, forget about it.
So 2 up and 2 down. And in steps Avery Parker, one of the ones who does have a home run to her name here in the Big Ten tournament. Parker again batting in the 6th spot. Her numbers this year, 2nd team all Big Ten. You look at the 37 RBI. This is an offense, by the way, that has 3 players with 50 or more RBIs in the season. Outside pitch. But I think going back to Coach Gascoigne's encouragement to Danielle Williams. It's don't be paralyzed by their power. Don't be intimidated by it. You just have to pitch your own game.
Well, and at the end of the day, you've got to trust what you do. And I've always looked at that, when you're facing some of the best hitters in the nation and the ones that have the ability to hit the long ball. First of all, you welcome the challenge. You want that hitter. You want to face that hitter. But you also have to trust that your stuff is better than the hitters, even on your best day. And if you can walk into an at-bat that way, then you're going to be in a much better spot when it really happens.
Lays off the high one, so 2 balls, 2 strikes. Parker's only hit of the Big Ten tournament, that home run that she picked up the quarterfinals. Here's the 2-2, ground ball, we'll do it again.
When you see good battles like this is when, if you're Parker, you need to put in the back of your mind that this is a good time for a changeup to be delivered. And if you see it, sit change, at least foul it off. You've got to wait. The changeup that Williams throws also has a little bit of downward spin, so kind of a double whammy there, not only changing the speed, but the spin as well.
And a line drive right at Hannah Katie. Northwestern, Danielle Williams retired. Why do it? Illinois has been a wonderful host all week long for the Big Ten softball tournament here in Urbana, Illinois. And Nikki Cochran will lead things off for Northwestern in the 5 spot. First team all Big Ten. Was productive in the semifinals. Cochran had a couple of RBI against Nebraska. And as hitters count early against Copeland as the leadoff batter in the bottom of the 2nd.
This is a pitch that has to be brought close to this plate. Good spot. Cochran, we've seen some Northwestern hitters, Nader, for example, that has swung on a 3-0 count. Sometimes having that green light. In this case, the patience of trying to find a good pitch, too.
Fouls it back. And the count goes full against Cochran. And walked her. First free pass that Copeland has given up.
And the leadoff hitter on, which is going to be a good key for Northwestern. They get runners on, they find a way to advance them. Especially when you're talking about the bottom of this lineup that is really starting to come through big. The last thing you want to do is put some runners on for them to hit in.
Yeah, I mean, just yesterday alone in the semifinals, I'm looking at the 4, 5, and 6 hitters, so middle of the order, produced about 7 RBI. But Angela Zedek now at the plate, and she is the hitter you want at the plate. With runners aboard, she's been fantastic in the Big Ten tournament, the best hitter for Northwestern in this tournament in the first 2 games.
Pay attention to her bat speed. When she gets that bat around, her speed is so quick on it, which just makes it bounce off the ball. Her velo, her exit velo is so much better. But beyond that, it allows her to catch up with speed. It allows her to just be a better hitter in her ability to get on top of a rise ball even.
Where does she generate that in her swing? Is it hips? Is it legs? Is it?
It's in hips, yeah. Hips, swing. I guess swing's not the right word, but hip snap, if you will. Really get that barrel through.
In the dirt for ball 2 to Zedek. I mentioned she's got the best numbers in the Big Ten tournament for Northwestern, batting .667 coming into this at-bat. 4 hits, in 6 at-bats, 3 RBI, and 3 doubles that she's already accumulated. And she didn't cross the plane, so 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, that bat has to cross the plane of the plate. You can see how Zidak does a great job holding it back. Another 3-1 count. Having to work from behind, and that's exactly where Copeland doesn't want to be. She wants to get ahead of these batters, attack the zone, but sometimes when you respect batters too much, you get too perfect with your pitches and then you miss too far in the zone. And at this point, you know, you just have to trust your stuff and go with that strike zone, let your defense do the work, and if they start hitting at that point, then maybe kind of make your adjustments. But right here, first time through the lineup, go and attack the zone.
And she attacks that one and flies it to right field. And it's at the right fielder, Avery Parker. And so Ayana Lindsay, who is in to pinch run for Nikki Cochran, stays at first base. Just the 3rd time that Zidak has been retired in this Big Ten tournament. Maeve Nelson brought the big bat yesterday in the semifinal, had a solo shot, and it was it could have still been sailing past center field if her camera wasn't over there to stop it. The momentum over there in center. She cranked it. No balls, 1 strike to Nelson.
Great pitch on that corner. It's about establishing the corners of the plate. Get it in that zone, make it move. Not a screwball. Much better place for Copeland to be ahead in the count here, 0-2. Now you're able to mix your pitches out of the zone. And you can see on that one how she worked her way a little bit further out. And that's the benefit of being ahead. Where you're behind, you just kind of have to live within the confines of the strike zone. And that's when it gets dangerous.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and Nelson, a high pop-up, shallow left field, in foul territory. The out is made.
And do a good job. And you've seen that with this Wildcat lineup that, you know, to me, that's an indication that they're poised for the tournament. They're poised for the postseason to go far.
This Northwestern team, very experienced. You know, I'm interested in the meeting in the infield. Shonda Stanton coming in with her pitching coach, and just a conversation as the outfield met in the outfield, the infield met with the coaches, and with 2 outs and 1 on, you know, maybe just a reset conversation. I mean, you do have a Kelsey Nader, as we documented. She's the number 8 hitter, but she has been a hot hitter for Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, data's out there, right? You know who's been hot. They've been watching the games. They've been scouting the games. Yeah, pay attention and maybe pitch Nader a little bit closer. Beautiful spot there on the corner.
At first pitch and first strike. Kelsey Nader, a first-year player for Northwestern. You see the last 9 games. In a stretch in those 9 games, it's where Northwestern wrapped up its outright Big Ten regular season championship. Nader on the all-freshman team. And there goes the runner. Lindsay gets tagged. A beautiful throw from Warwick. And it
And again, you continually see Indiana going to attack first pitch swinging. That's part of kind of their game plan of how they wanted to approach this game. Another batter here in the lineup, Kettleman, who's just going to try to attack that first pitch, fouls it off.
Cassidy Kettleman at the plate.
If you're Williams, you know, the first time through the lineup, that's kind of where you evaluate. The second time through the lineup, that's where you know that they're looking to attack first pitch, and you can maybe introduce that changeup more on your first pitch of the at-bat, just to keep the batters more off balance. To me, it's a game of many adjustments as you get the second time through the lineup, because the batters are making adjustments. You also have to make an adjustment.
So our first mound meeting with Michelle Gascoigne and the infield, Danielle Williams. The thing is, when she throws that changeup, you really can't tell it's coming between the fastball and the changeup.
Now, and you can see the two differences between Williams in both shots there, but look at where the contact is, or the point of contact that you want to have for Copeland now, and where the ball is in the changeup side, how far back it is, but yet the swing is the same for Copeland. And that's kind of the difference. The motion is the same. The difference on where the ball is in terms of speed in the change where it gets Copeland on that changeup side, how far out in front, where her timing is so far off on that right side. Just a great comparison of showing what Danielle Williams can do. And it starts at the beginning. If it doesn't look any different, it's really hard to make the adjustment. And a lot of times when you're in that situation, you almost have to pick up, is it the right time to throw a changeup to keep you, like you have to almost sit on it and be prepared for it, but at the same time, be prepared for the fast stuff too. It's very difficult to do, which is why Williams is so good.
And she hasn't been afraid to introduce it early. Indiana offense that hasn't seen her this year, and with so many young players, sometimes seeing her for the first time in their careers.
For sure, and she knows, I mean, she knows it's kind of her bread and butter, and that's kind of what she goes with. She puts that changeup in the zone over 50% of the time.
A 14-mile-per-hour difference between her fastest pitch and her slowest pitch. But Kettleman's a great example of that. Kettleman is a freshman and has never had to face the likes of Danielle Williams until the Big Ten championship game today. Ground ball to Maeve Nelson, took a wicked hop, and Kettleman is safe. An error to Maeve Nelson, and the first error committed in the Big Ten tournament for Northwestern.
And some of this is where you got to take advantage of it. This just a ground ball is a good pitch by Williams. Kettleman gets her bat on it. Again, staying aggressive, and yeah, took a nasty hop. Gets out of Nelson's glove. Kettleman finds herself on base.
Here's Kinsey Mitchell. Swings at the first pitch. It drops in for a single, so 2 on and no out. And here comes this Hoosier offense.
We've been talking the whole time about Northwestern's offense, the bottom of the lineup showing up. Indiana showing what they can do at the bottom of the lineup. First pitch swinging, attacking that first pitch that is brought in the zone, and Mitchell finds a way to drop it into shallow outfield. You can see the excitement that she brings to her team. Hoosiers got something going here.
Remember what their head coach told them in their film session this morning. Hunt hard early. Whether that's hunting down just one speed, whether that's hunting down one kind of pitch. Hunt it down definitively. So an opportunity here for Brooke Benson. Batting .289 with runners in scoring position for Benson. She lays down the bunt, it rolls down the first baseline. The out is made and the runners advance. So a sacrifice bunt for Benson to move people around, and now the dangerous top of the order is back up with runners at second and third and 1 away.
In no timely situation than to have Benson up, because she's one of the better bunters on this Indiana team and does it beautifully. Doesn't allow Cochran to really be able to make any other throw than to first base.
Yeah, her 6th sacrifice bunt of the season for Benson. Now a conversation between head coach and Bassett. Cora Bassett has stepped up into big moments. You only have to go back a couple of games ago against Penn State in the quarterfinals.
2 runs, and you almost felt like there was a moment that they were just going to win it, but she came through big.
Swings at that first pitch, again, attacking early in this at-bat. You know, the PS to that hit against Penn State, she got another chance at the plate. Remember, Penn State couldn't make a play on a foul ball, and so it gave her another pitch, another opportunity in that same at-bat, and she took advantage of it. And lays down the bunts. They were thinking squeeze, perhaps, making Danielle Williams trying to make a play. Now it's in a rundown, and Kettleman getting caught. Kettleman sending right on home. There's been no call here on the field, and we've got runners at first and second. Indiana has scored its first run.
What a series of events. Almost like a just delayed squeeze, if you call it that.
And probably to no surprise, Kate Drohan wants this reviewed.
Yeah, with Kettleman. So Kettleman was actually called safe at home, gets in that rundown, and they put the tag on. So beautiful bunt here. Williams takes a look at third base, makes the throw. As she's coming here, the fake from Katie puts the tag on, the tag not on. So the umpire calls safe there. They get the out on the runner second and third. That's Mitchell. But Kettleman hustles home, and take a look here. No tag play. Good move there by Kettleman to get out of the way. Naomi Erdahl behind the plate calls her safe immediately. You can see it here. Just good running by Kettleman to get in, try to dive out of the way. I don't see a tag there.
Wow, maybe on the hip. That's the closest I see to the body, but I don't either.
But Naomi Erdahl behind the plate, a good angle for her. Just
she
eyes
was
right on that.
Yeah, she
tag.
was right there in good position. So Naomi Erdahl is your home plate umpire. Aaron Peterson, first base. Liz Hammerschmidt, third base. It's an all-female umpiring crew here today for the Big Ten tournament.
Okay, so the call on the field, it's important to point out the call on the field was that Kettleman was safe at home. So that, what we're reviewing here, has to change the play or uphold it if there's not enough evidence to show that there was a tag. There was an out at the same time. There was definitely an out by Kinsey Mitchell running between second and third.
I think this might be our best look in terms of seeing if the tag touched anything. That's Maeve Nelson, who thought that she got her, but that's another different look. Boy, and Cassidy Kettleman doing a great job avoiding the tag. Does it hit her helmet at the beginning of the tag?
It might have been a little bit of a pivot.
There's a different look down the line.
If there's a space between, ooh.
Boy.
I feel like there's space there, but now I'm going back to the helmet thinking maybe she got a piece of that helmet. If you look, that helmet
I just think we go back to, you know, we had a couple of these challenges yesterday, Jenny, and I think you have to remember the call on the field. The call on the field is that she's safe. So these umpires at the monitor right now need to see something that is going to change their opinion definitively.
I don't see anything that's definitive at this point.
It's got to be clear and obvious to be able to reverse this call. And the call on the field is safe, and that the run scores for Indiana.
Let me point out, though, by the way, how much all-out effort that was to just get out of the way. And to me, like that, there was a moment there where I thought she was just dead in the water. And yet, kind of like with a Matrix move, got herself a chance to be safe, ultimately called safe right now.
Just as a PS, too, with this umpiring crew, they have a decision made. She's safe. Call stands. Needles up 1-0.
Well, what a job by Kettleman. This is a team that goes all out, that they put effort in. Fist pump for the win there.
Heads-up play, too, by Shonda Stanton. She immediately was sending Kettleman home. And look at all the reaction.
A freshman. It almost validated Kettleman standing there saying, yeah, I know, I wasn't tagged.
First pitch swing for Taryn Kern. Big Ten Player of the Year, still hitless here in the Big Ten when Michigan State defeated Illinois in the final. And one of the umpires that day was also Sally Walker. So at the plate, as we mentioned, Naomi Erdahl. At first base, Aaron Peterson. And at the third base is Liz Hammerschmidt. Fly ball to the first batter, it's Kelsey Nader. Remember, Lindsay was thrown out in the last time up for Northwestern with Nader at the plate, and she flies out.
The second baseman, number 22, Grace Nito.
Grace Nito is the next batter.
The best way to answer back defensively when you score a run, whether it's unconventional or not, is to go and get 3 quick outs. So far, one and done. Now they got to go after the next 2, but this bottom of this lineup, going right after Nito is going to be key. Second time through this lineup is really where Northwestern makes their best adjustments.
Good turnout here at Eichelberger Field. And what a game, what a tournament, what a week we've had. The Big Ten softball tournament for 2023. They've been wonderful hosts. You know, we've seen 4 walk-off games in the first round and in the quarterfinals. We've seen some drama. We've seen some high competition. We've seen all 4 seeds advance, all the top 4 seeds. And now a battle between number 1 versus number 2 in a 1-run game here so far. Grace Nito fouls it back again.
I knew you could have called that one again, right?
Nito trying to hunt down her first hit of the Big Ten tournament. The one hopper handled by Benson. And down by a run in a championship game, because those 5 have basically seen it all.
Yeah, I mean, when you have that group that's stepping on the field, you've got a leader is the battery between Rudd and Williams. I mean, you have so much knowledge and so much experience in big-time situations.
Skylar Schellmeyer was one of the first. She's at the plate, and she's one of the first of those 5 to decide after they lost and their season was done in last year's Women's College World Series that she wasn't done, that she wanted to come back. And we have documented her spirit and her emotion and how much fun she enjoys playing college softball. A hard hit ball. It's a fair ball for Schellmeyer. She's thinking about taking 2. She'll stay at first base.
To me, this is where Northwestern gets dangerous. Make your mini adjustments. They've seen Copeland 1 time through. See that ball just right down the line.
Well, they're going to call Schellmeyer back to the batter's box.
So I think that the theory is that she was out of the box. If you're out of the box, you have the choice. You take a look at that foot. When she hits that ball, yep, she is out of the box. And so even though it's a hit and it was fair, the defense has the choice to either take the play as it went or bring her back and issue a strike there.
Which makes sense that they called her back. Why would you take the result of the play and let her on first
100%.
base versus taking another strike? Now 2 balls, 2 strikes in this at-bat.
Which is why you get the option, because otherwise, if say she was thrown out in that situation, you take the out. So that's why a defense will get the option to go either way. Michelle Meyer definitely out of the box there.
And a slap grounder again. Look at that stretch. She got her. My goodness, Sarah Stone saved that play. In a play that was challenged by Kate Drohan, Northwestern's head coach, and we bring her in for a conversation. And Coach, you didn't win that challenge. It was a very unconventional way to score. Take us through what you saw on that play from your perspective.
I thought Maeve at least got a tag on her. If not, they could have checked to see if she was out of the baseline. But, you know, we've got to shore up our defense and settle in here and play our game.
Coach, second time through the lineup here offensively for you. How do you want to attack Copeland here as the game goes on?
You know, I think we've got to get on time, and we've got to get comfortable in the batter's box. She's working pretty quickly, so we've got to get on time and kind of stay in our legs a little bit and turn some balls around.
Coach, thanks for the time, as always. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Go Cats.
You know, our conversation with Kate Drohan pregame, I loved her opinion on her team. She said they're a bunch of old souls, and they love learning about the history of Northwestern softball. Part of the history of Northwestern softball, beyond getting to Women's College World Series, winning Big Ten championships, is the struggles that they've had in the Big Ten tournament. They haven't won a title since 2008, and this team is well aware of it. Had a conversation about that with the team this morning. You know, she has talked about, we showed you how veteran they are, a bunch of, you know, five-year seniors, some 4-year seniors on this team. She said, this is the year of honesty that I can have with this team. If they're talking about it in the locker room, I can help kind of steer that conversation a little bit. Now this team, trailing by a run, still has a chance for a comeback, but a chance to do something that not many Northwestern teams have done. But this Indiana offense keeps coming at them, and Taylor Minnick has another hit in the Big Ten tournament to lead things off.
Taylor Minnick is just seeing the ball so beautifully. This is an inside pitch. She picks it, turns on it, and just lines it into the outfield. Just getting her barrel on the ball and through the zone. Getting the leadoff runner on. Second inning in a row.
Aaliyah Andrews is your pinch runner for Minnick. Sometimes she will appear in right field defensively for Indiana. A big pinch running situation for her. Sarah Stone at the plate. Let's not forget Indiana, you know, after knocking off Minnesota, Minnesota had the longest active win streak in the Big Ten and now is owned to Indiana. They won 11 straight. During that 11-game win streak, Sarah Stone, your batter at the plate, has the most RBI on the team, but she's well ahead of that one.
Yeah, and that was the pitch that got her last at bat. Many adjustments. I've said it time and time again, that changeup is going to get you, but if you know that you're one of the big hitters in this lineup, sometimes you've got to sit change. You've got to be prepared to see it come in. And even when you lay off of it, and I think that that's the big key when you're a Sarah Stone or a Taylor Minnick, for example, is when Daniel Williams will throw a changeup back-to-back like she just did there. You can't lay off of it because it falls through the zone too many times.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and fouls it off. Cochran is there, nearly got it. Almost had a basket catch, headed towards the fence over there on first base. Stone has had her moments. One ball, 2 strikes. A couple of home runs in the Big Ten tournament for Sarah Stone. The only 2 hits for her in the Big Ten tournament.
I'm Sarah Stone right here. I'm looking changeup right now. Like, to me, this is a perfect moment for Williams to deliver a changeup.
The 1-2.
Especially when you're getting a batter to foul off over and over and over again, where her timing's a little bit better with that fast stuff. And that's really where you introduce it. I would almost bring it maybe a little bit further on the outside part of the plate. Again, Williams tends to bring it over the plate.
The 7th pitch of the at-bat will go to an 8-pitch at-bat. Hard ground ball backhanded by Cochran, goes and gets the lead runner for the out.
That was a pretty hard hit ball for Cochran to go and get that backhand, and great positioning for her. You see how she kind of reaches out, bounces in her glove, and because of the positioning of where she is, she was able to get the lead runner, Andrews. Perfect position for her to make that throw to second.
Brianna Copeland, a dangerous hitter at the plate. But Stone struck out against Williams in her last time up, and Copeland has struck out against Williams in her last time up. And like Stone, her only 2 hits of the Big Ten tournament have been home runs in the Big Ten tournament. But a hard ground ball again to the right side. Northwestern looking to turn 2, but Copeland beats it out. So the Cats get 1 out of that, and now 2 away.
And the defense just eating up these ground balls. Heads up play, and this is again going to talk about an experienced team that feels confident to make and get that lead runner. Sometimes when you're a younger team, a newer team, the game is so fast that you want to get the sure out, and so you make the safe bet and you go to first base. Northwestern not doing that here this inning.
Runner goes, Copeland is running, it's a hit and run. Copeland rounding third, and she's gonna stay put there, gets the stop sign, but Parker dives back to first base, and so this is interesting. A first and third situation now. Uh-oh, hang on. We've got an out call. Bottom of the 4th, Indiana looking for its first Big Ten tournament title win, leading Northwestern 1-0. We bring in Sean DeStanton, the head coach for Indiana. And Coach, we've talked about it here throughout the tournament, throughout the season. You've got a very young group that is playing on the biggest stage here in the conference. How do you feel like they're handling this moment for you today?
Oh, we're flashing the leather, Breeze hitting, she's pounding the zone. Our base running, we made 3 mistakes so far, and that cost us a little bit. You could be on time on the hit and run. If you're out on the stolen base, I'm okay with that, right? We got to know that. But you know what? I'm proud of this group. I told them before we even played, we've already won because who they are as people. Now, that doesn't mean we're coming in here and wanting second place. It's first place or no place is our mentality, and that allows us to play free and loose. I love how Benny's flashing the leather. I love the stolen base that we caught them stealing on. I just love how we're fighting right now.
Coach, you're about to face the second time through the lineup here for Northwestern. What would you like to see Copeland do adjust to as she approaches the second time through?
Well, ask Coach Bell that same question, right? She's in charge. I stay out of that area. But, we got to work ahead. It's a great hitting team. And when you fall behind, that allows people to be locked in. So from my standpoint, I want her to work at a good pace, work ahead. Coach Bell will tell me what's working, what's not working. But I'm super proud of this group, and she's looking good right now.
All right, thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you to the Big Ten and Illinois. It's been a great event. Go IU.
Yeah, it certainly has. We've talked about this. Look how beautiful this field has looked. We've had weather that's cooperated. Picture perfect weather, really, for the first couple of days. We've mentioned the 4 walk-off games that we've had. High-level playing softball in one of the best conferences in the country. Conference as Kansas Robinson gets hit by a pitch on the first pitch to open up the bottom of the 4th, but a conference we feel like has 5 solid reasons to make a case, 5 teams that can make a case for the NCAA tournament. And a case could be made, too, for Maryland and Penn State. You know, with Penn State, you've got a team that's peaking at the right time, by the way, winning 11 of its last 14 games. 3 of those losses, one of them to Indiana in extra innings, 9-inning quarterfinal game. And then you've got a Maryland team that at one point was ranked in the top 25, but has suffered some injuries to some key players. They started the year 20-4. Some of their key players, 3 of them got injured. Those players are now back at the end of the year. So really, you can make a case for 7 Big Ten teams. You know, the top 4 seeds, Ohio State as the top 5 seeds. And then as we talked about, Maryland and Penn State. All 7 of those teams, you see where they rank in the RPI across the country. Jordan Rudd floats it, and grabbing it is Benson. She's been a vacuum there at the shortstop position for Indiana.
I think like the reality of the Big Ten right now that is important to note is that it is competitive very deep into the Big Ten. I think there have been times in the past where the teams at the bottom of the Big Ten hasn't been as competitive, but you know, to make a case for 7 teams to have 10 teams that are RPI of 50 or higher, I mean, it says a lot about what the conference is doing, how they're competing, how they're showing up to play. We've seen even regular season conference battles that have not been giant sweeps. They've been back and forth, they've been high scoring, all of those things that are a really good sign that it's competitive here in the Big Ten.
Yeah, again, we feel like those top 5 teams, you know, their resume speaks for themselves. And then you can make that argument, like I said, for a Penn State and a Maryland. Penn State, with the way they closed the season, played against top competition, in Maryland with the injury considerations. They were a top 25 team at the beginning of the year. Now for Northwestern, you know, the case going into today, could they be a top 8 national seed? And if they are, what does that mean? They could host regionals, they could host super regionals, and so the road to the Women's College World Series would go through Evanston, which would be huge for Northwestern if they could get that to happen. You know, their RPI, they are 8 coming into this game. They are right there, and keeping an eye about how they compare with some of the other teams that are either ahead of them in the RPI or behind them in the RPI. Make a really big argument. So we're looking across some of the conference championships across the country, looking at some of the scores, and it's significant. Texas is 2 spots behind Northwestern in the RPI. They lost their championship game. Duke is 2 spots ahead of Northwestern. They lost their championship game. Tennessee is just right behind at number 9, and they're leading in their SEC championship game. So you would think Northwestern fares nicely with comparable resumes to a Duke who lost their title game, a Texas who lost their title game. You know, the door is open for the Wildcats to step right in as a top 8 seed. Ground ball there for Katie, toss to second, throw to first for the out. Hoosiers doubling up the Wildcats. This savvy veteran team about the history of that. And trying to change history here today, but trailing by a run as we head to the top of the 5th. Avery Parker still at the plate. She was at the plate on a attempted hit and run opportunity for Indiana, but Copeland left early at first base.
And yeah, it was a hit and run, but first pitch swinging, and she tagged that ball. That was absolutely right through the hole.
And Jordan Rudd is still down, though, after this foul ball.
And this is just a tip. We've seen this happen to her already in this tournament, just a tip that kind of hits her in a bad spot. That one kind of gets her in a...
Always amazes me with all that padding for catchers. It always finds the
spot that's not padded. Yep.
Well, Jordan Rudd trying to shake that off. That gives us a moment to pause and remind you that July 15th, the BTN Big 10K returns to Soldier Field in Chicago. It's a 10K and 5K race and a tailgate party involved. Scan the QR code or register now at btnbig10k.com. Rudd will step back in behind home plate.
Rudd, one of the best catchers in the nation, if not the best, but absolutely tough as nails too. One of those, just take a 5-second break and shake it off, like you said, and come back and compete.
Parker, a ground ball to Nelson. And the throw is made, got her, but it was close. Awfully close. Indiana has 2 challenges that they can use, and here in the 5th, they haven't used one yet. This could be a possibility here. We'll see what Sean DeSantis decides to do.
Nelson does a good job trying to release that as quick as possible. Parker gets down the line pretty quickly. Again, the call on the play is out. You can see the ball at the top of your screen getting in Cochran's glove. The foot still not on the bag. I do think this is the right call.
And they are going to review this play. So 1 review left now for Northwestern and 1 review left for Indiana. I think I see the ball in the glove there before foot hits bag.
Typically what you look for is that squeeze of the glove with the ball in it. And I do think that it is before that foot hits the bag. So I think that's the right call. Looks like a fairly quick decision here.
Nope, and it didn't take long at all. Oh. Yep, it stands. Call stands.
Yeah, I think this is one of the easier review plays. I feel like that we've seen there's been so many close plays. But I think she does get that ball. Cochran squeezes that ball before that foot gets on that bag. So good close out. A good one to review though, for sure. I feel like the coaches so far in this tournament have made the smart decisions of when to use those challenges.
Seeing that graphic, 1 challenge left for both of these coaches could come into play as we head into the final few innings here and only a 1-0 game. Cassidy Kettleman reached on the air, and then she was the one to score the only run of the game. And a play there on the base path. We heard Kate Drohan say she was challenging for a couple of reasons. One, to see if she was tagged, and the other to see if she went completely out of the base path.
Let's see Kettleman stepping into the box here. Her toes are in the front on the chalk, and her back foot is on the back chalk line as well. Taking away that inside pitch, trying to take it away. Williams has to establish that pitch on the inside corner anyway.
Would that allow her to identify the changeup coming?
Yeah, if you sit back enough, absolutely. You can see it from there too. How far back she is takes away the movement as well.
Indiana making history just with an appearance here in the Big Ten championship game. Their first appearance in program history in the tournament championship game. And up and over, hit the glove of Katie, and she's aboard. Katie just couldn't get high enough, and Kettleman at first base.
It's a great attempt by Katie. Good hard hit by Kettleman. You can see Katie gets up, it gets in the glove, and it just bounces out. Kettleman kind of slowed up to round. Nelson, good backup here from Katie. It's a solid hit, sending it oppo.
And so a single for Kettleman, and it brings up Kinsey Mitchell. Indiana, tag is made, the throw to first for the second out, but she's safe. So Mitchell will stay at first base. Indiana coming in, they've won 42 games this year. Getting to that 40 win mark is awfully significant for them. You know, they started the Big Ten season 9-0, and this has been a program that has slowly been built here by Sean DeSantis in the last few years, but the first team to go from a double-digit seed last year to the tournament title game the following season. Remember, they were a 10 seed last season. Obviously, with some of the influx of some of the new talent, the freshmen coming in, combined with sophomores who have experience, some juniors and seniors who get some playing time, who have accepted some of the new faces in this role. And it's all resulted in a number 2 seed for Indiana this year and their first trip to the Big Ten championship game. Outside pitch in for a strike. 0-2 now the count to Benson.
Benson had a sac bunt last time, so this is her first chance. Really swing away. Ada Williams, you can see her toes near the front chalk line as well.
These Northwestern fans trying to do their best Danielle Williams impression.
That's how I learned.
Okay, we got a Hoosier fan next to a Wildcat fan. And they're getting along. Love to see it. Ground ball again to Nelson. She's going to have to make the play at first base. Got her. Good scoop there for Nikki Cochran to pick up that flow. Kettleman out there in left field. And her Hoosiers still with a 1-0 advantage. Fly ball out, and Aaliyah Andrews there in right field, making the play. Talk to me about the job that Copeland has done in the circle today.
I think Copeland has just absolutely been phenomenal in terms of being able to pound the zone and use her defense to make it work. So far, she has just kept this Northwestern team off balance and off timing, which is kind of what Kate Drohan was saying, is they haven't been able to settle in very well in the box.
Angela Zidak, 0 for 1 at the plate. Flew out in her first time up in the second inning. Carol Copeland, and that's Brianna's mom, videotapes every play. She wanted us to give a shout out to her husband, Terry, who couldn't make the tournament here this week. Zidak takes it again to Andrews in right field for the second out. Carol Copeland, we told her we're only going to show you if her daughter does something good. And she said, do you show any of the other parents? I said, they're just not as fun. They're just not as fun to show. She hasn't missed a game this year, only missed about a couple last year. Makes a trip, she does a lot of driving, except to Rutgers and except to Minnesota, but everywhere else, including the Big Ten tournament, she's hopped in her car and has driven from Alabama to watch her daughter play.
There are moments to me where you could just watch her reaction and know what happens in the game. Just put a little camera on her in the corner and...
Well, you can see her there in the top left of your screen every time we take that center field camera look. Here's Maeve Nelson, who flew out in the second. And Nelson pops it up. And so 3 fly ball outs. Brianna Copeland, Indiana.
When you have 2 great offenses, is a sign of the quality of pitchers that we have in a circle.
Cora Bassett at the plate, 0 for 2.
Credit to Indiana too. I think so far sticking to that game plan of attacking early.
And Bassett puts it in the air, shallow center field. The shortstop Maeve Nelson comes over to make the play, and 1 down.
And they haven't necessarily been as successful. They've only gotten those 3 hits, but to me, you know, sticking to that game plan and working and having that attack at the plate to know that you're just going to go and connect with an early pitch. I think they've had a little bit more success, especially on those 3 hits.
The way, look at how far back this infield is for Northwestern against Taryn Kern, the Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year. Still looking again for her first hit of the Big Ten tournament. 0 for 1 here today. 0 for 8 for the Big Ten tournament. With the positive spin on that, Indiana has won its first 2 games in the Big Ten tournament and is leading Northwestern here 1-0. That's how talented this batting lineup is for the Hoosiers this year. Even with your Player of the Year not performing to Player of the Year standards, Indiana still producing. Here's the 1-1. One ball, 2 strikes.
Kern again getting behind in the count 1-2. I think her approach to her at bat's better. Williams not afraid to go right at her though.
Two and 2 now the count. Kern, a California native, took a trip to Bloomington's campus with her dad during a Final Four weekend in Indianapolis. And fell in love with the campus and the program. Dad played baseball at Gonzaga, and it was the year when they had the Final Four in the whole NCAA basketball tournament in Indianapolis. So Gonzaga was there at the time. They decided to make it a father-daughter trip. They weren't able actually to be in person with the coaching staff because of COVID. That was not allowed as a recruiting opportunity between coaches and potential recruits, so they went on their own. Fell in love with it, and so the California kid now playing in Bloomington. A swing and a miss, and she strikes out.
This is why I always look and say a pitcher on her best day can best a hitter. And take a look at this changeup that just falls over the center of the plate, just disrupts the timing of Taryn Kern. Got her on it. Has been so difficult for this Indiana team, in spite of the fact that they have the lead, to really connect with that changeup.
Taylor Minnick just rockets one, but it's foul. Minnick has been such an important hitter for Indiana this year, always hitting behind Kern, and you see her numbers from last year to this year. They've jumped.
Yeah, and I think a huge up on power numbers on her isolated power. Her swing and miss, look how much lower it's gone. She is connecting with more pitches, and obviously you see the increase. 30 more RBI this year.
Hard ground ball. Hannah Cady gets down on one knee to field it for the 3rd out. So Northwestern takes care of arguably the wonderful crew at the Big Ten Network, bringing you all these games from start to finish of the Big Ten tournament.
And Nader, for as hot as she's been at the plate, certainly one here in the bottom of the 6th when the innings are kind of running out, that you want somebody like Nader to kind of find some of that success she's had so far in the tournament.
It's 8-9-1 here for Northwestern, trailing by a run.
And to that point though, I mean, in general, the textbook is get your 8 and 9 out, start the top of this lineup with 2 outs if you're Indiana.
Two balls, 2 strikes. love that Warwick looked back at Naomi Erdahl. Like, what's the call on that? What's the call on that pitch?
I don't know if Naomi Erdahl had to think about it, but this was beautifully on the corner. Again, it's where it crosses the batter's got to be just above the knees as the bottom of the strike zone. And to me, that was a beautiful pitch on the corner and the bottom of the strike zone.
Come on, man.
Copeland has thrown 6 complete games this year. So far going the distance for Indiana.
You can't call it close like that.
And the count goes full to Nader. In the dirt. So the second walk of the game only for Copeland.
And a little bit of fire from Nader. On ball 4 there. And see how she says it. Look how she looks to her dugout and wills them to follow her lead. Leadoff runner on. This is absolutely where execution matters, where manufacturing a run matters. And keep in mind, all Northwestern has to do is answer back with 1. And she fell out of the baseline. So therefore, because she was in the baseline when she was avoiding the tag, she was still in that baseline. She got up, she was able to score from home. So out of the baseline being part of the question that Kate Drohan had upon review was that she was in the baseline. Important to note there when you see somebody fall so far out of that baseline.
Well, you know, we also had a conversation with Sally Walker and explaining to us that, you know, it's hard. There's not lines on the field, right? When you're talking about 3 feet kind of measures in the baseline or out of the baseline. We don't have that on the field. So when the call on the field is the run scores, that is hard to judge and reverse that call when you don't have those measurements on the field to be exact on if the base runner is in the baseline or out.
Right, and you have to make a pretty obvious call. I think that if Kettleman, for example, ran into the grassy area of the field, that could have been a different conversation.
Nito lays down the bunt, moves the runner over, and now a runner in scoring position. Representing the game-tying run at second base is Nader. So Nito does her job, and now it brings up the top of the order, and this is exactly where Northwestern wants to be.
100%, you got the top of your lineup coming up. You've got your veteran group. Shellmeyer, you've got Rudd, Katie, Cochran. You've got Kansas Robinson in that 2 spot who will be up here after Shellmeyer, who has created production, or had been very good with production today. Double. And hit by pitch as well. So I think the big key for Shellmeyer, 2 times in her last at bat she stepped out of the box. One of those times would have been a hit. So she's got to be careful to make sure that that footwork stays in that box.
Watch those feet, watch those feet.
Important moment here in the bottom of the 6th for Northwestern. They'll have another turn at an at-bat as the home team, the top seed in the bottom of the 7th if they need it. Shellmeyer skies one to left field. And now 2 outs.
And pop flies in this situation are so good, especially when they're shallow, because a runner is unable to advance. So Strands Nader there at second base still. And now you have those 2 outs. It's a much better position for Indiana to be in. But Kansas Robinson, again, has produced here today.
2 outs, yeah, for Kansas Robinson. She's a first-year player for Northwestern.
Well, and she's had better at-bats today to me than Jordan Rudd, who's behind her. And I realize Jordan Rudd might be kind of the better producer in general overall, but Kansas Robinson is as good as she's kind of been seeing the ball today. You've got that base to give. I think you'd be a little bit careful about what you deliver.
Well, she bats .333, 27 at-bats with a runner in scoring position this year for the first-year player. How's that back? But Northwestern, man, they have had a tough time trying to figure out Brianna Copeland today. throwing a one-hitter here so far in the championship game.
Keep it in front, Lynn. Keep it in front. Keep it in front.
Nader at second, representing the tying run. Robinson has the go-ahead. Two balls, two strikes, two outs. Northwestern trailing by a run.
Take it away, Lynn. Take it away now. Come get it. Come get
And
it.
takes it into the air. How about the over-the-shoulder grab? Saving a run, Brooke Benson. Indiana's magic continues through 6 complete innings.
I state again, part of the keys to Indiana to win this game is great defense. What a catch to save the run. Indiana keeps the lead right here.
Come on, sit this strings up.
And so this youthful Indiana team testing the vets of Northwestern.
All right.
In the championship game for the first time in program history. Hit into a fielder's choice
All you need is one.
in the 4th inning in an 8-pitch at-bat. Struck out in her first time up, Sarah Stone, in the 2nd inning.
That's it. That's it.
And she takes one to left field, gets under the glove of Zedak. And here comes Sarah Stone taking 2. The leadoff is on and in scoring position.
I love her energy. She was one of the ones that I had felt in this lineup that was starting to make those little adjustments, starting with her first at bat, which was a strikeout. Here, going to attack an inside pitch, a screwball, the fast stuff that she turns on. Zedak kind of shading towards the center of the field. Cannot get to this ball in time. Stone, leadoff runner, getting in scoring position, and no doubt an insurance run that Indiana needs here.
Tatum Hayes is your pinch runner now. And some insurance run possibility here for the Hoosiers, and they're checking on Zedak there in left field. Reason for a little bit of this delay.
Zedak went all out on that ball. Credit to her for maybe getting a little beat up on that, but still getting up and getting the ball in. Making that priority number 1 and then worrying about how it felt.
You know, I just want to talk about this Indiana team. What's at stake here? Obviously a Big Ten championship, but let's not forget, against the #1 seed, against a Northwestern team that has won in this series the last 12 meetings. And Shonda Stanton had talked to us in the pregame about this young team kind of playing with a sense of, we got nothing to lose, we don't know any better. Playing the #1 team, a team we haven't beat in the last 12 meetings, who cares?
Yeah.
Being in the Big Ten championship, you know, for the first time in program history, who cares? It's just a softball game.
It's just what they do, and I think you give Coach Stanton credit for that she has preached belief. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? How are you going to get to the point where you believe that moment? Belief precedes your behavior is kind of the saying that she does. To me, that builds mental toughness. You talk about somebody who you're asking them to put their mind right. And their mind being right is what makes them believe. And she's not telling them they have to believe. She's asking them how they believe. And I think that's a big step in the right direction, because it puts the ball in their hands. It puts that situation in their hands to make the decision for themselves.
Brianna Copeland at the plate, squares around to bunt. And now 2 strikes against her. So she'll have to start swinging.
Bree Copeland, one of the batters in this lineup to me that I feel like has had really, really great at-bats. She's been able to connect when her team hasn't against pitchers throughout this tournament that maybe others have struggled with. And she's put the ball in play.
And a swing and a miss, a strikeout, and the first out, the throw to first to make it official. And the first out and the 4th strikeout for Danielle Williams.
Copeland, another victim of that off-speed.
The right fielder, number 18.
See, this one even falls low in the zone, into the dirt. Copeland can't lay off of it. Heads up to start the run to first base, but Rubb makes a good throw, no problem. A huge out. for Danielle Williams in this Northwestern defense.
Parker fouls it back. Avery Parker is a player that's played behind home plate, played right field this year for Indiana. One of those 11 freshmen and sophomores on this team.
Williams continually delivers the ball into the zone. And that's ultimately what she has to do, in spite of the fact that the game plan for the Hoosiers has been attack early and often. You've got to bring your pitches in the zone. You've got to trust your stuff. And you see that she does that even on 0-2, that pitch well into the zone.
Parker batting .321 with runners in scoring position this year. The Hoosiers, though, as a team, have been 0-2 today.
To me, the best hit of the day against Danielle Williams was the one that happened to be erased in the scorebook, the hit and run where Bree Copeland left early, but just a solid hit, and it came from Avery Parker.
And she goes right back up the middle, trying to beat out the throw. And it's there by Grace Nito, but the runner advances over to third, 60 feet away for Tatum Hayes and Indiana to go up 2-0.
And Nito going back on that ball could have saved an attempt from Hayes to try to go home. That got a little bit further into the outfield, so not only did they get an out, showing a lot of range is Nito.
Cassidy Kettleman. The only other Big Ten tournament championship game to be a 1-0 final, we showed it to you, 2008 when Northwestern, the last time they won a Big Ten tournament, they won 1-0 against Iowa that year. Here's Kettleman, who is responsible for the only run of the game, an unearned run. Lots to talk about with that run in the top of the third. And so far, that's the only run that has stood across this game into the top of the seventh.
How about Shonda Stanton trying to squeeze with 2 outs? Be aggressive.
Never put anything past these coaches, Jenny Ritter.
Not Shonda Stanton. She is all about being aggressive on that base path and keep the defense off balance as much as they can.
On a 2-strike at bat, a ground ball back to Danielle Williams. The big Jenny Ritter, Lisa Byington with you, our entire Big Ten Network crew. The coverage of the Big Ten softball tournament coming down here, and Jordan Rudd has her first hit of the Big Ten tournament in the bottom of the 7th in the championship game.
This Northwestern team is dangerous when their backs are against the wall. Jordan Rudd attacking first pitch strike here. She has not had a whole lot of great at-bats here in this tournament. Her first hit comes right now, but no bigger time than this moment.
Zaborski, your pinch runner, for Rudd at first base. So first batter is aboard. Remember, we've had 4 walk-offs in this tournament this week. A couple in the first day, a couple in our quarterfinal day. Got a game going to 9 innings even. Lots of drama in the Big Ten tournament that's ending here in the championship game. Hannah Katie at the plate.
Katie, one of the batters in this lineup that's seen the ball really well with runner on base. At 2-0 count, this is where Copeland has to reel it in a little bit, trust her stuff. Just because she gave up a hit, go back to what has happened throughout the course of this game and not focus on that hit, focus on the moments prior to that where she's had a lot of success and work to get batters out. You focus on the runner, you focus on the things that didn't go your way. That's when Northwestern can kind of get their foot in the door, try to even the score.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 balls, 2 strikes after the foul ball. Katie, that's a foul ball. Out of play.
I don't know why I'm nervous for both of these teams. Bottom of the 7th here, a lot on the line.
Count goes full. Come on, these are the moments that you live for. You would love it if you were out there in the circle.
No doubt, but Copeland can't afford to miss on this pitch.
And Katie drives it into the gap. Zaborski over to third, is holed up, and runners at second and third. The Cats are coming. The Cats are coming in the bottom of the 7th.
And Katie knew it. Like I said, you can't afford to miss on a 3-2 when you have a runner on base, no outs. As a pitcher, you have to deliver this pitch. Katie sees it, tags it into the gap. One of the hardest hit balls I've seen Northwestern have so far today. Great backup by Mitchell, or a run scores there, but Zaborski rounds and gets all the way to third base. 2 in scoring position, still no outs. And why is this a big deal? No outs. You can do 2 sac flies and score these runs on advancing on a sac fly if you want to. This is a tough situation for the Hoosiers to be in, let alone you want to lose the lead, but now you've got a runner to actually win the ball game too on a walk-off.
Let's revisit a conversation with Kate Drohan before this game. She said, I'm going to rely on the experience. This is an Indiana team we recognize that has a lot of energy. And we asked her, how do you counter that? She said, you know, our pedigree counters that. We handle it with our own adrenaline. It's all about us. We are focused, we are decisive, and we have been there before. And that, in these moments, that's where we're gonna lean on in those championship type atmosphere moments.
This is a team you can never, ever count them out. And it comes from that moment of we're focused on ourselves. We don't care about the other team. We care about us. We care about what we're going to do. And because of that, you can never, ever rule them out. And showing it here, how dangerous of a team they can be.
Nikki Cochran at the plate, swings at the first pitch. And one of those players, Fitting, who has been there before, one of the 5th years, decided to come back to play an extra year in Evanston for these moments.
Home run power, not that she needs it here, just a single would work.
Cochran, a foul ball, and a valiant chase down by Kettleman.
I don't know that I would have caught that though. You catch that, you're not in a position to throw. There's a potential that Zaborski could have tagged and scored on that and evened up the score. Not that you want to put the bat back in the hands of Nikki Cochran, but you're trying to make sure that you keep that 0 on that scoreboard in the runs column for Northwestern.
Angela Zedak on deck. Coming into this game, the best hitter in the Big Ten tournament for Northwestern.
Yeah, seldom would you say you're in a good spot with no outs because you're getting the bottom of the lineup up for Northwestern, but they've been so good.
The 0-2. She did not come all the way around, so 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Man, what a pitch. Got Nikki Cochran thinking about it. Polk keeps her bat back. That is a phenomenal 0-2 pitch.
Come on, boys. Here we go, we got her now. Brad, you got her now. That's it.
Cochran fouls it back. Nice battle here between Cochran and Copeland.
And I think Copeland's got to find that out pitch. You don't want to work this full. You do have a base to give. First base open. But a dangerous Zidak behind Cochran here. What a battle. 6 pitches so far this at bat.
Here we go, Brady. You and her.
The 2-2 high to Cochran. And the count goes full.
Northwestern, just outstanding job. The second full count.
Just challenge her here. Let's go.
Again, another pitch that needs to be delivered here.
Into the dirt, it gets past the catcher. Saborski comes in, we're tied at 1.
Nikki Cochran heads up base running to get all the way to second base as well. Does not stop at first on the walk, but an unfortunate pitch here. This ball just gets away from Copeland. You can see her wipe her hand on her pants as soon as she saw it in that dirt. Saborski scores easily, evens this score, in Northwestern in the same position now that they were before, but now fighting for the win as opposed to the tie. You cannot count them out.
Angela Zidak now at the plate and an opportunity to win it. A wild pitch.
Look at this miss though. This is why when you are planning on an intentional walk that you are prepared at the base path. That was well in the zone. Zidak didn't just stand there and wait to take that walk. She took her hack on that.
That could have been disastrous here for Indiana.
Could have been dangerous. You can see Copeland, some pitchers, myself included, always struggled with intentional walks, trying to get that pitch up and out enough because you're so used to attacking the zone.
It's not something you practice a whole lot.
Well, and you have to. And to your point, you have to practice the intentional. You have to make sure you can trust yourself to throw that way. A couple dangerous pitches here so far.
We're locked after the wild pitch on ball 4. Now the base is loaded. They elect to pass on Zidak, and they're going to pitch to Maeve Nelson.
And I think this is the one batter that you go and attack. Maeve Nelson had a big hit yesterday, a home run. But in general, over the course of the season, I think her success came less in big hits and more in trying to just create run production.
And I love Michelle, that shot that we had. Michelle Gascoigne coming up to Maeve Nelson and talking her through the pitches and the pitcher she's about to see.
Yeah. And your look's going to be different too. You got a lefty pitcher in versus a righty. And so the movement on the ball that comes in is going to have a bit different of a look as well. And Nelson, to me, in this situation, keep in mind, there are no outs in this inning. So if you're Nelson, it's not about having the pressure of having to come through big, because if you don't do it, you have other batters that can do it. So it's about just getting your barrel on the ball. Put it in the field.
Strike call on Johnson's first pitch of the game. The 0-1, Nelson takes it to right field, it's foul. Avery Parker over there in right field after the pitching change has been made. But to your point, Jenny, maybe she could have gotten to that, but decided.
Well, and now you're in a walk-off situation, right?
Yeah.
Not a moment where you're going to tie it up. So in that situation, there was not a single chance that if Parker caught that, she'd be able to turn and make the out throw.
Just chasing it down, just in the fact that it might go from foul to fair over there.
To your point on that, even if it were fair and Parker made the catch, I think that was deep enough to score the run.
No balls, 2 strikes. Outside pitch. 1-2 the count. Nelson trying to find the cap, off the wall, Katie scores! It's a Wildcat walk-off for the championship!
What a moment for Maeve Nelson.
The 2023 Big Ten Tournament champions, the first since 2008, and in a tournament defined by the walk-off, fitting that the championship comes down to a walk-off win.
Just an outstanding job by Northwestern. Never out of the moment, never out of the battle, and Maeve Nelson, what a key moment to come through big with clutch hitting. Just an outstanding job to want it as bad as they wanted it and come through big when their backs are against the wall. This was not a bad pitch on the outside part of the plate. Heather Johnson delivers it, but Nelson knew as moment she connected with it, that was getting away from the fielders. That run obviously scores easily. Man, what a moment for this veteran team.
She knew it when the ball hit the bat. And Maeve Nelson, one of those fifth-year seniors, coming back for moments like this. Northwestern, your 2023 Big Ten Tournament champs.
This is the game of appearance.